Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So this video is not the one I was planning on making. Okay, the one I was planning on making is there's a great YouTube channel which I can't remember the name of. I will remember the name of it when I finally do make this video. They did an awesome walkthrough of the Doctor Who Worlds of Wonder exhibition, and I really want to look at it. Right. The other good thing about normally when I do like a video reaction, it's a pain in the ass. Right. It's a huge pain in the ass because let's say I'm commenting on something somebody's saying on a news show. I then like splice the audio in to the video before I produce it from the original audio, so it sounds better. Otherwise it's like, and it's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of work. With this one, it's great. I don't have to have the sound on. I can just talk over it, right? But I really can't wait to do that video. What was it in? Was it 2010, 2011, maybe earlier? I can't remember. I flew to London with my son, and we spent a few days there. And we went there to go to the Doctor Who exhibition there. What was it? Olympia, right? It was awesome. And then a year or so later, I went back, and they had a different Doctor Who exhibition. What was it? It was not I think it moved to Cardiff, right? That was the one where you go into that was awesome, right? Because you went into the TARDIS and it looked like it was some stage magic made it look like it was there was space behind it, right? And you walked in the TARDIS and you're in the TARDIS, right? You were in the TARDIS. It was fan-freaking-tastic. I love that. So it does a bit where you're on a Dalek spaceship. And it was awesome, right? It was just fantastic. So this one's much more educational, right? So, and I'll tell you, it used to be when I lived in Miami. My kids were young. We needed to find something to do on Sundays, and we would often go to science museums. Yeah, science museums. Oh, they're cheap and they're fun, and the kids are interested, right? It's much like this one, Worlds of Wonder. They had this fantastic Star Trek exhibition. Took up a huge amount of space. I had a great time. I don't know about the kids. Anyway, that's what we're not doing. Just to be clear, that's what we're not doing. Because I see this article and I wanted to get to it. This is from over a month ago now. From NPR. So NPR is a I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it's National Public Radio in the US. I would describe it, looking at the content, as being an extreme left-wing organization spouting extreme left-wing propaganda. They're not from my side of the cultural aisle. But I think it's very important to be able to understand how people different from us think. And we are pretty much, for all intents and purposes, in the Western world in the Civil War. It went from culture war to like a cultural divide. We're in a civil war now. Why do I say we're in a civil war? We got the January 6th show trial thing going on in the US, and it's been so counterproductive. The only thing it's really done is it's entrenched everybody in their own positions, and they haven't really presented anything whatsoever. It seems to be, from what I saw, everything is dependent on it being a complete ridiculous lie that Joe Biden's victory was anything other than completely kosher. And the problem is this, just factually, the people who told you it was completely kosher are also the people who have been caught lying a lot, right? A lot. Hunter Biden laptop, Carl Rittenhouse. I had somebody comment on the video I did about a week or so ago, and he said everything that was the media insanity about Carl Rittenhouse, like every lie, right? And they still believe it, right? They still believe it. So we got that going on one side, and there's a two-tiered system of law. We have Steve Colbert, the black hole of funny, one of the least funny people in the universe. He's so unfunny. He's only slightly funnier than Samantha Bee. Right? You ever seen that? Not funny at all. So he had a bunch of staffers break in. They were invited in by this new congressman or somebody to essentially harass another member of parliament. Not Parliament, Congress, whatever. So And they were arrested. They caused such a commotion. They were arrested by the Capitol Police, and they were charged with exactly the same things. I mean, exactly the same charges as the people from January 6th. And they spent a night in jail, and they were let out. The people of January 6th spent 2 years, 18 months in solitary confinement, and subject of a show trial. Right? There seems to be two things. What you might say, but Tzvi, one was a prank, one was an insurrection. They're charged with the same thing. But then if you're willing to go apples to apples, then you got the March 29th insurrection. You probably forgot about that. That's when the BLM riots were really kicking off. And you had a bunch of Joe Biden supporters break down the barriers of the White House. The president had to be moved to a secure room. They burnt down a church. 200 people, 150 officers were injured. It much more damage was caused than January 6th. No, nobody cares about that. So there's a very clear two-tier system. And on the other side, we have a place like Texas, officially saying that they don't think the 2020 election results were legitimate, right? And they're putting they're trying to push for a vote on secession. Listen, if you know history, this is a civil war, right? This is literally a civil war. It's not a kinetic civil war yet. The First American Civil War. And the fact that we're calling it the First American Civil War and it comes out your mouth so easily shows you that we're in a civil war. But the First American Civil War went on for quite a while before it got into actual kinetic violence, right? Essentially it was one state had built a fort, like I can't remember, the South or the North had built a fort in another state, so it was like a military asset, and they said we still own it. So no, it's in our state now, right? And that's what actually started the fisticuffs, of the Civil War. So we're really clearly in but all wars end, right? Everything ends, and we got to move on with life, right? We got to move on with life. So I think it's very important to be able to look into the mind of the people who are not like you, right? Which is what we're going to do right now. So the article from NPR.org, it's looking at the casting of Ncuti Gatwa through their just insanely racist worldview, and it is insanely racist. I mean, it's the only way I can really describe it. I think the biggest difference is. I think really how this is going down. I think generally speaking, and I'm not sure, I don't know if you disagree with me, let me know. I think left-wing people are just intrinsically racist to a certain extent, right? That's what seems to be happening right now, in that they look at black people and they infantilize them. They go, oh, never, oh, you can't get an ID, oh, you need our help, oh, look, you can't pull it together, oh. Yeah, they look at them as subhuman, right? And anybody who doesn't, but then they think, oh, but we fight against that feeling. So we're not racist. Whereas I don't know. Listen, I'm not in the mind of people. I'm just telling you what I think. You get in the mind of right-wing people. I think black people are the same as white people. Like, really? I don't know. And I don't think I'm so insanely right-wing. I guess I am in this day and age. Anyway. So we're going to be looking at insane racism. And it's insane racism. Before we get into it, can you hit the like button? Do you like a bit of racism, do you, kids? Well, hit that like button. No, racism's bad. Racism's bad. Can you hit the like button? Can you hit the share button? Can you hit that subscribe button? All these things are very good. YouTube is just screwing me over royally. I pray for the apocalypse to come very, very soon. That what's the name? That YouTube will be smitten by the good Lord. Hopefully we can all just move over to Rumble. I'm also on Rumble, everybody. If you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button, baby. That'll be lovely. Sign up my Substack, sign up my pay Substack. All these things are very good. Let's try and pull up this article. Can I do it from here? Now I've got to go doink like this, and I got to go like this, and then it's over here. There you go, found it, and there you go. Doctor Who as its first black lead. Will the show contend with race? I mean, like it has done very effectively, right? I mean, honestly, one of the best commentaries on racism. Was Remembrance of the Daleks. So clever, right? I thought this was really genuinely, properly clever. when you had Mike, right, who was on the side of the good guys, on the side of countermeasures, then you found out he was a bit of a sneaky double agent. But before then, so he's staying at Mike's, and I think he's dead now, right, Mike? I think he was super gay in real life, but yeah, he was part the the people who sympathised with the naughty National Socialists from Germany in the 1930s. Anyway, so he puts Ace up at his mother's boarding house, and she's there, and they have that great scene where she looks in the mirror and sees a sign saying "No colours." That's what racism looks like, right? And it's such a clever way of they made a sympathetic character, right? They made a character that you like, and then you showed them being that was impactful, right? That was impactful. If you don't want to talk about othering, Happiness Patrol. I mean, I'm a bit of Sylvester McCoy bent right now, but this is part of the DNA of Doctor Who, right? It's always contended with bigotry. It's part and parcel of it. But again, in this insanely stupid, simplistic, baby-brained worldview of people like this, it never has. But let's hear what they got to say. When news broke that Ncuti Gatwa will be the new star of the BBC's long-running science fiction series Doctor Who, it felt like an important step forward for the franchise. Well, I mean, that's what I said about Jodie Whittaker's casting. It was stunning and brave, an important step forward, right? It was so important, so stunning, so brave. And it turned out to be a disaster. What do I mean by disaster? If you like it, God bless you. I'm very happy with it. You know, you enjoy it. You have a right to like it, and you do. You absolutely do. People have the right to like anything, but it was a disaster in terms of its popularity. Every metric has been a disaster, and even if you want to say, "Well, Netflix, different TV landscape," it still crashed harder than the norm, right? I think the live rating was 1.2, 1.3 million for the last special, right, which was heavily promoted. That's the lowest ratings ever, right? That's the lowest rating ever. The merchandise is in the toilet. If they put Jodie's face on anything, it doesn't sell. And I don't know if you like these facts or not. These are just facts, right? So it feels like an important step forward for the franchise. I wish that it didn't, right? I mean, here's the point. They do have a point. It's somewhat weird, like we're given the demographics of the UK. There hasn't been a black doctor as yet. You know, I mean, like, I don't know what's the percentage of black with the people in the UK. What, 10%, something like that. We've had 12. You know, 12, 13. That means 1.3. It would have been normal, right? 1. And I don't think it was anybody going, oh no, not a black person. I mean, especially not in the revival. It's just. You know, in 2005 and 6 and when was it, 10 and 12, right? They cast doctors. People weren't even thinking about racism then. It was, you know, generally speaking, my generation are in charge. Were in charge at that time. And yeah, people grew up in the 80s. We weren't racist, right? We weren't racist, and we thought it was a weird anomaly of the past, right? And I didn't know anybody racist, and I doubt anybody knew anybody racist, right? And that was the world that we made. But you know, this insanity has happened that has told people that no, we live in a deeply racist world. To explain the failure of their political outlook, right? The political outlook of the left wing has just crashed and burned. It totally. I mean, if you want the great comparison, compare the 8 years of Obama to the 3 years of Trump. I think count the fourth year doesn't really count. 3 years of Trump to the 2 to 4 years, however long it's going to be, of Biden. You know, A, B, right? It's like, how much more a stark failure do you want, right? And you might go, oh, but you know, the Tories are also destroying England. No, I think the problems with the world, with the Western world right now, are generated by the complete failure of the world leader, United States, and Britain has caught up with that. Don't get me wrong. A lot of buffoonery and stupidity and selfishness and probably criminal behavior going into lining the pockets, right? But that's what politicians do, Right, politicians are generally speaking low-life scumbags, right? So, if there could be a machine that would scan your brain and will be able to tell you if you had any desire to be in politics, that should just brand you forever for being not allowed to go into politics. That would be much better. Anyway, after all, the show's lead character, time-traveling alien thousands of years old, known as Doctor, has only been played by white people since the show's inception in 1963. Listen, I think they need a pass for the first 15 years, 15 to 20 years or so. Again, the demographics of the UK was the black population was tiny, right, and it would be just weird. I mean, that they cast anybody. Before Peter Davison, I think the sweet spot, I've said this many times, would have been it was at 85 when Colin Baker started having a black doctor. Then really, and the truth is, John Nathan Turner should have left with Peter Davison. They should have had a whole new production team come in. That really would have been the time to do it, right? It would have just been about right? And again, but we didn't think about race up until like 2015. Nobody thought about it because it was over. I'm not saying there wasn't any racism in the world. Of course, there's bigotry and racism in the world, but it being a potent force, it was over. Nobody putting up a no-coloured sign in the bloody window, are they? They'll be reviled if they did. The current star, Jodie Whittaker, the first woman to star on the show just 5 years ago, and was awful. And has destroyed the show. A lot of people finding casting somebody on bent of their identity not being a good idea, right? Not being a particularly good idea. Has only been 5 years. And Gatwa, a black man born in Rwanda and raised in Scotland, who raised playing gay high schooler. Apparently, somebody scolded me for saying he's gay. I've never met him. I've certainly never slept with him. Your Honor. I never touched him. So I said I was outing him. Well, isn't he very outwardly gay? I don't know. But and again, not that it matters. Do you remember that Seinfeld when not that they talk about being gay, and you probably don't remember it. This is like, you have to remember if you're a Jew. Every episode of Seinfeld, not there's anything wrong with it. And they kept saying, where is it? It's on Netflix now. Go and check out that episode. It's a funny episode. They're all funny episodes. Born in Rwanda, raised in Scotland, playing gay high schooler in Netflix series Sex Education. I think his portrayal of Doctor is going to be nothing like that whatsoever. And, please, Russell, put out his audition. Put out his audition video. Whenever you can. I really want to. I want to see what blew Russell T Davies away, right? Because I think it genuinely did, right? I think it was. I think he was definitely cast by identity to a certain extent. But boy, I think he can bring the goods. Speaking of which, by the way, blew me away on the last episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which I'm really genuinely properly liking, and that nothing amazes me more than that, right? It really they had a trans actress. Now I don't know if this trans actress had a penis or not, right? I do not know. In the last episode, episode 7, this actress was phenomenal. Right, just absolutely phenomenal. Clearly not a diversity hire. Here's the thing. It really devalues somebody. It really devalues an entire group of people hiring somebody based on their identity. I think the character Reva from Obi-Wan Kenobi was written to be a black woman. Why do I think that? Because that's the only characteristic she has, right? She's an angry, snarling black woman with a plan that's stupid and makes no sense. Her plan, by the way, her kind of plan was when she saw her little friends cut down by Anakin Skywalker in the Night of Order 66, she said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and slaughter and maim and be awful to people as well. So they bring me into the fold, and then I'm going to do that for decades, absolutely decades. And then at some point, which I don't know, I'm going to sneak up on Darth Vader and kill him, all right? But before then, I'm going to do worse things than he ever did, just to lull him into a false sense of security. Yeah, it's a dumb plan. But yeah, she was hired because she's a black woman. Much the same way as Joe Martin, right? And it devalues the art and the artist. It's ridiculous. Having said that, this it's so great seeing somebody who was hired by Identity and then is able to give the middle finger to these racists, right? These bigots that hire people on Identity by being stunningly good. And she really is very, very, very good in it. Apparently she's been cast in a network TV show completely on talent, right? I'm really impressed with this actress. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Ncuti, right? I really do. The news was compounded by more announcers. David Tennant, who played the popular version of the Doctor in 2005 to 2010, will return for the show's 60th anniversary next year. He'll be joined by Catherine Tate, who played popular sidekick. She wasn't that sidekick. To the Doctor, known as companions on the show Donna Noble. Yasmin Finney has been seen in Netflix popular British coming-of-age teen drama Heartstopper. Will join the cast as an openly transgendered one of the few openly transgendered actors to appear in Doctor Who. The reason it's very few, because they're very... Well, there's a lot more now. Up until a couple of years ago, there were very few transgendered people. Now it's. Listen, it really rattled me last Saturday. I was talking there. Somebody's relative has had double mastectomy surgery, and when they were like 14. And it's been playing on my mind, right? Because it's like, yeah, it's one thing when it's happening outside of you, but when you have a personal connection to it, I was horrified. I'm genuinely horrified because I don't think there's a good reason for children to decide to mutilate themselves, right? I don't think there's a good reason for it. And if a child isn't considered mature enough to decide whether or not to have sex, they probably shouldn't be considered mature enough whether or not to decide what gender they are. But the truth is this. I mean, this is really the truth. The reason there's a push to groom children and to tell them that sex is normal and weird sex is normal, drag shows are normal, their sexuality is to confuse them and to get them to the point where they can have sex with them. I mean, like, how many of the person running the Drag Queen Story Hour was just arrested for being a paedophile? It's like, how often does this happen before you can see a bloody trend? And I see a trend. Anyway, so people were very nervous about Yasmin Finney. I don't know if she's a quality actor of the one on the start. Maybe they are. Probably they are. Right? Probably they are. And that's really where I think we're going now. Right? I think the world that we're going to is we've essentially won the cultural war. Now it's slipping into a genuine civil war. We've won the cultural war because there's just not the ability to continue doing things that revile the audience. Unless you're Kathleen Kennedy, then there is no amount of failure, right? If you're Disney, there is absolutely zero amount of failure that's a problem, right? Zero. You can fail totally at everything and they will still keep doing it, right? It's kind of like, I remind them that, was it Blackadder goes forth where they say their new cunning plan is to leave the trenches and walk slowly towards the Germans in formation. And he said, well, isn't that the same plan that we've done over and over again and always results in everybody being slaughtered? Oh, yes! But this time it'll work. There we got an element of surprise, so they won't expect us to do that again. Anyway, listen, I really believe everybody in the production is being cast on talent, right? I think they can all bring their A games. And from what I understand, it was she was shooting for 4 or 5 days. She doesn't sound like she's a major character, right? And if you're bothering me using the honorific of she for the person with the penis, well, firstly, I like to be polite, right? I like to be polite, and secondly, YouTube makes me be polite, but I would like to be polite anyway. I have no hatred for people. I just, we have a different worldview. All this will be guided by returning showrunner Rusty Davis, who revived the series in 2005 after a 16-year hiatus and left the series when Tennant did in 2010. With credits including the groundbreaking work like Queer as Folk and It's a Sin. I love It's a Sin. There seems to be little doubt Davis plans on taking the show in directions It's never traveled before. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I think it's going to be just like everything Rusty Davies has always done, right? Good drama that's reasonably woke. But you don't notice it's reasonably woke. And by woke, I mean, actually, I think woke's the wrong word. Because if you're going to use the word woke, I think there's got to be a connotation of lack of talent and ability, in whatever it is there is. It's normally using whatever you're working on as a platform for a bizarre ideology, and it always accompanies a massive drop in standards. That's what I think that's really very important to define as Angel's work. That one of my favorite shows is Raised by Wolves, and tragically cancelled on season 3. I hope somebody else picks it up. That's cancelled. The Star Trek Discovery season 5 is being made. We live in an evil, corrupt universe, obviously. But that's got so many woke elements in it. It's got the stunning and brave female lead. It's got the somewhat emancipated, soft black man. All these basic woke tropes. But it's not woke, right? It's not woke because I think the quality's there. I think lack of quality is something very important with being woke. So that's what, So I think he has certainly has a woke mindset, right? But I don't think I think it'll be high quality. I really do. And yeah, as a long time Whovian, well, you didn't know much about it so far. A nerd speak for a fan of the show. Listen, if you couldn't work out that a Whovian was a Doctor Who fan and an article about Doctor Who, maybe you're not that smart. I'm left to wonder if the new Doctor will fully take advantage of all the diversity in its new casting choices. I hope not, right? I hope they portray people as people. No. We want them to be tokens. We don't want them to be people because black people, they can't really do much. We gotta lift them up. Oh, God, they're so racist. They are so racist. Specifically, I fear that Doctor Who may not explore what it means to turn a black man into one of Britain's most beloved TV characters. It shouldn't mean anything because he's just an English person. In fact, I have to tell you, I can't think of anything. It's something very, very, very English about Ncuti, right? He's a refugee who was brought up, who grew up in England. Look, England is a very charitable country, and I think it has been for all my life. It has been a country with a genuine social conscience, and it's a lot to be proud of in that. There really is a lot to be proud of in that. And I think there's something so English about a refugee from Rwanda who now has a Scottish accent, who's a successful actor. I mean, yes. This is what doing good as a nation looks like, right? And you should feel good about yourself for it. Because when the current production team had a chance to develop storylines around reimagining the Doctor as a woman, they often skirted the issue because they were talentless hacks, right? Now, people will say, well, wait a minute, what's the Doctor going to do when he goes to the past? He's going to be treated as a black man, As far as I know, and let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, I think prejudice against being black really only started around the 1700s. I think at that point, before then, everybody was a slave, right? You could make everybody a slave, and it didn't really matter what skin color you were, right? So I think basically you hang out around there, you're probably not gonna run into any problem. Certainly, do you remember the Shakespeare episode of Shakespeare Code with David Tennant with Martha in it? But I loved how Shakespeare had the total hoard on for Martha, quite rightly so. But they addressed it right there. Hey, nonny, right? Are you a Nubian? It wasn't like a thing. Right? It wasn't like, oh, you're somebody I'd like to shag. I mean, okay, that seems to be equal opportunity to me. But anyway, often skirted the issue. Reimagining the show through regeneration. For those unfamiliar with the show, Doctor Who came up with an ingenious way to keep the series going in the early days, allowing the programme to switch its lead actors. If you want to know more about that, watch Mark Gatiss' excellent An Adventure in Time and Space, right? Excellent docudrama. The Doctor undergoes what's called regeneration. Well, they called it rejuvenation the first time, where he morphs into a new body with a different personality, kind of similar personality, same personality traits, accounting for the tremendous long life. In practical terms, this storytelling device allows the change of style whenever necessary, or even when not necessary. When you got to Jodie Whittaker, right? We could have had another couple of years of Capaldi, which would have been wonderful. I want to go to that alternate reality, don't you? I would like to live there. Building Doctor Who's rise as a British TV institution and international phenomenon. In 2017, Scottish actor Peter Capaldi departed the role. Yeah, we should have had another 2 years. He should have gone right up to COVID as Whittaker took over. I'll be honest, I haven't been all that impressed with the episode featuring Whittaker, crafted by showrunner Chris Chibnall. Yes, because they were awful, right? And as you champion them as being stunning and brave and the bestest ever, the British public rejected it wholesale for good reason. Too often it seems as if the show races through plotting and circumstances at breakneck speed, leaving me yearning for a little more time spent developing the characters. Well, that's your problem. Chris Chibnall doesn't have the ability to do it, nor does he have the sense to hire somebody who could do it. You know, I think Paul Cornell would suck his dick to be head writer, or to get a co-writing credit on any on any episode. You should have brought in somebody competent, Chibnall, right? To write, but no. You would have, that means admitting you're a complete failure, God. I'm surprised no one's put together a video of him shifting around, of him, his 13-year-old self saying, don't you think it's a little bit repetitive, and cut to him shifting around uncomfortably. And somebody must have done that, right? Somebody must have done that. No shade intended for the show's actors, especially Whittaker. Look, for me, there is shade intended. Her acting choices have been absolutely abysmal. Because she doesn't have the ability, the skill to portray this character. Because she's like, it's a 1,000-year-old tasting alien. Can be anything there. No, go and watch the frickin' show, you idiot. Do what Matt Smith did. Watch one story from each Doctor and find that through line. But you didn't. You just flapped around, and it shows in your performance, which was frankly embarrassing. I would love to see a what's that thing they have them on the Blu-rays behind the sofa. My season 22 is on its way. Cannot freaking wait. Behind the sofa, where you have actors watch the episodes on the disc. I would love to watch Colin Baker and Christopher Eccleston watch Jodie's episode. Watch a bit of Orphan 55. Okay, do that. Right, I think that would be freaking hilarious. I think that would be absolutely hilarious, because I would love to see them try and defend those acting choices, which are frankly awful. I'm sorry, they are. You can't hide behind your gender because you're doing a terrible job. You devalue your entire bloody gender for doing that. Especially who has plunged into playing the Doctor with appealing abandon. No, she hasn't. She nails every scene in which she recalls her best characteristics of the classic Doctors. No, she does. That is pure bloody fantasy. Please, show me that happening. That is pure bloody fantasy. While also developing her own vision. Her vision's flapping around and not being able to run. Still, the show's writing too often hasn't matched her skill. I think it's matched it perfectly, frankly. I really do. I think they're both awful. The recent 6-episode story arc dubbed Flux featured the Doctor facing off against a cavalcade of bad guys, including 2 aliens who looked like they had crystals stuck in their faces. Classic villains like the... by the way, those villains were pretty darn good, and then dispatched pointlessly. Classic villains like the Weeping Angels, which... was so incredibly misused, right? Great cliffhanger. Jodie Whittaker turning into a Weeping Angel. Great cliffhanger. Stupid resolution. They're basically a taxi service. They're like a heavy mob. It's ridiculous, right? It's taken away the air of mystique from them. It is ridiculous. And a murder alien called the Grand Serpent, and a character who claimed to be our hero's adoptive mother, even in the season aiming for epic story. It felt a bit overstuffed. The reason they overstuffed it, because they had to paper over the cracks of Chibnall not knowing how to write. I mean, these scripts are just deeply unprofessional, and that's really the best description. They are deeply unprofessional. But yeah, so's Whittaker's acting. So okay. To be sure, the Cora Flux story turns on important revelation about the Doctor's origin and life story. Nobody cared. It was awful, right? But it tumbles out in a rush, culminating in the Doctor's decision, spoiler alert, to turn away from an object which will allow her to access the memories of her previous lives. Yeah, I'll just put this in here until my final episode where we're going to look at it. Oh, keep up. I mean, like, why? It's so stupid. It's so unbelievably stupid. Closing the door to Mutt's introspection and robbing the character of her biggest weapon, her experience. It's coming, you blithering moron. What there was enough of, at least from my perspective, was a peek inside the Doctor's own head. The last special, the lowest rated episode of all time, Legend of the Sea Devils. Again, special, it's the same way somebody goes to a special school. That sort of special. The Doctor turned down a romantic relationship with her companion Mandicle's steadfast Yasmin Khan for fear of getting hurt. Yeah, for fear. This Doctor is a coward. This Doctor's a bully. That's why I cannot wait to see what Rusty Davies is going to do, because I just want to know how I can excise this failed, awful era from my headcanon, which we're all going to do. And believe me, I will be amazed if Russell doesn't give us all the ability to do that, right? Because if you don't do that, if they don't wipe away the Timeless Children, which is very important to a lot of people, and I think explicitly wipe it away, like put it in a multiversal thing or something like that, then I don't think it's going to work, right? It's not that you won't get the fans back again; they don't really matter in the terms of the ratings. But fans act as sheepdogs for the normies, right? And when the fans desert something, that's when the decline for the normies it goes in. That's why I think it's going to go, right? Wasn't a few times she saw her inner life emerge, but almost as it happened, she turned away. It's bad writing. One of my greatest joys in watching Whittaker's predecessor, the wiry-browed Capaldi, was seeing him develop the Doctor from a curmudgeonly know-it-all with little patience for individual humanoids to a character who begrudgingly appreciated his connection to others, especially his companions. I think he was always that, right? It was always that. Just when he was younger, he was more scared, right? He was trying to find out who he was. That's what I think in his weakest season, that was compared to what his first season was about. I don't know how long what period of time it covers it. I don't think it's long, right? I think I think it's from him just regenerating and flapping around trying to work out who he is, right? Maybe a week, maybe two. I don't know, but like it was that first crisis with Missy, Master, and the Sidemen. And, that must have been so much better on the page than it appeared on the screen. It's a real shame. It should have worked. Sidemen climbing out of graves. It really should have worked, but it didn't. It's something I've always felt was true for the best Doctor Who storylines. The most interesting aspect of any episode is always the Doctor. Yeah, but Whittaker hasn't played it like the Doctor, nor she's been written like the Doctor. Think about it. Even for series which goes to the end of time and back, what could be more interesting than a super intelligent, eclectic, charming, steadfastly moral alien that has seen it all and still cares? Well, again, I wish I could say that Whittaker's portrayal in any way reflected that description, but it just doesn't, does it? It really doesn't. My AC down a bit. She's not super intelligent. She's a doofus. And that's how she plays it, right? And she has never idea what's going on. Seen it all, what's that? That should be possible. How often do we hear that? How that character views existence, danger, romance, and society is often the most exciting and revelatory element of my favorite episodes, including the Dare of the Doctor. Yes, but it's something that's got to be used very, very, very sparingly, right? The Doctor's really got to be a bit of a, have that Olympian detachment, as Philip Hinchcliffe described it. There's a special episode featuring Tennant, Matt Smith, and John Hurt as different incarnations of the Doctor working together. Despite all the ground they covered, the Chibnall Whittaker episodes haven't really connected with what it might mean to change the gender of the character. Not at all. Which is what I wanted, right? Which is what had they not just done lazy casting and lazy writing, I would have been intrigued to see how I think they poisoned the well, right, for a long time for a female Doctor now. I really do. It's a shame. The character has been a man on screen for 6 years. This feels like an opportunity missed, muting the impact of a much revolutionary casting. Yeah, because it was just about tokenism. That's really what it was about. Why diversity matters on a show about an alien. Diversity, and I feel that's a very racist ideology. Diversity, quality of outcome over a quality of choice, which is what you're talking about. It matters for you because you're a racist, right? And that's the only thing you think about. It's like a KKK person. They only see skin color. They really do. I used to like when on the Howard Stern show where they had Daniel Carver, the KKK Grand Dragon, and his family in. Because I was fascinated to hear their point of view, which is repugnant, right? But it's like the only thing they thought about was skin color, right? The darker your skin color was, the more evil you were, except for a Jew, which was the most evil. This is going to the KKK, because they could have white skin color and still be evil, right? So it was a bonkers worldview, but I was still fascinated to hear it. It may sound bizarre, worrying that a show about a time-traveling alien doesn't sufficiently explore gender and race on screen. Yeah, it does sound bizarre. It sounds like you're a bit of a twat, actually. But this is the unique vision of Doctor Who, the series that sends its characters to the end of the universe, yet grounds it in cheeky reflection of British culture. What it did when it was, competently written. It is, like so many of the best iterations of science fiction and media, a grand palette for exploring the current state of humanity. Again, episode 7 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I think, does that, right? I was very, very happy with that. That series in general. I thought I was going to hate it. I thought it was going to be a chore. I'm actually finding The Orville more of a chore to watch than Strange New Worlds. I think Next Generation, I think I meant to say Strange New Worlds. The centric of a narrative on characters and groups previously marginalized by big venerated franchise like Doctor. No! Show me when they've been marginalized by Doctor Who or Star Trek or Star Wars. Show me when black people have been marginalized. They had a black astronaut, in the 1966, I believe, wasn't it? I mean, it was so revolutionary and ahead of its time. No one's been marginalized. I think that's a ridiculous comment, which you can't substantiate anyway, and we're just supposed to accept it as it's like gospel truth. No, requires more than just casting a new actor. It demands a new character rooted in a new identity. Then make a new fucking show and leave this alone. No, because because you believe everybody is really racist, right? Like you are, right? That you judge everybody by your own standard. You believe everybody is really racist, and you're trying to re-educate them to not be racist, but to control their evil racism. So stupid. Davis is a skilled showrunner who has definitely handled depictions of race and identity in other series. And Doctor Who! Idiot cunt. Oh, God, it makes my blood boil. Hopefully these new casting decisions will reflect willingness to dig into possibilities. That's half the reason Yasmin Finney was cast, right? That's half the reason. To get little idiots like you to go, oh, it's going to be so diverse. It's to bring you in, right? I think Russell Davies wants to bring everybody in. That's what I think the plan is. After Flux, Whittaker and Chibnall have produced 3 Doctor Who specials for this year, culminating in their final appearance of in a 19-minute finale in October. God help me. Oh, I keep saying I wish the apocalypse would come so I wouldn't have to sit through it, but then I want to get to the Russell Davies stuff a year later. Well, is it going to be a year later? I mean, look, we're in June right now, and they're shooting for November next year. it seems a bit weird. Do you think they might be dropping something on Christmas this year? Do you think they might to like reestablish the brand? Could be, could be. That'd be awesome. Gatwa's casting actually reminded me of an old joke. A white comedian told to a black friend about time machines, saying that they could go anywhere he wanted, but his friend could only travel to about 1965 before he would have serious problems. 1965 from about 1700, right? It was just, yeah, your complete ignorance of history. They have the same thing with feminism, right? They go, oh, look at women didn't have any rights in history. Oh, because of white male patriarchy. Excuse me, idiot morons. No one had any freaking rights in history, men and women. Yeah, although used to be men and women work together. Why did men and women always work together, right? It's because when you're a hunter-gatherer group of people, the men need to protect the women. Why? Men are bigger and stronger. Women have babies. You need both. You need to protect the women so you can continue your tribe. Otherwise, you will all die out, right? Yeah, that's how sociologically the gender roles developed, right? And if you want to if you want to be a Bible thumper like me, you can say, oh, no, this is why God made men bigger and stronger and women have babies. That's why both parts of society needed each other so society could survive. It's only in this affluent, insane world where you get gender confusion. I'm hopeful in no way Gatwa's version of Doctor winds up reckoning with the painful reality left behind by the joke. Well, I hope he goes back and you learn a little bit about history, particularly how people of color and folks of the LGBTQ community have been treated throughout history. Excuse me. I don't know anybody more privileged than somebody in the LGBTQ community. Right? They are the privileged people, in reality right now. I can't wait for a new symbolic impact to seeing a black main character as a charismatic know-it-all with all the answers. Well, you didn't get that with Whittaker, did you? A type of role far too often denied to non-white performers. Again, this insanity, this absolute insanity that you say that black people are denied roles. I mean, yeah, they're denied roles as being masculine men. Right, because that's just how they're not allowed that. Well, it may not be a size because a black actor playing James Bond. So they're talking about Christopher Ituilafor, whatever his name is, of Bond, and I just hate the idea. I absolutely hate it. Will I even bother go see it? Probably not. Although I think the age of woke is really genuinely about to be over. I think we got about 6 months of it, 3 months to 6 months, and then it's really going to be a thing of the past, and everything's going to seem very dated, very, very, very quickly. Watch the space version. But for this Whovian of colour who has watched the show off and on since the mid-70s, it's close enough. Listen, I understand. I understand why it will be a joyous moment for a black person being cast as Doctor Who. I genuinely do. Same way I understood it was a joyous moment that Barack Obama, a black man, was elected as president of the United States. It's a joyous moment for all of society then, because it meant that America really had got over its racism. However, the left wings of society hadn't, and they like to use racism to control people. That's essentially how it works. But this cultural vandalism, and I honestly, I'm fine with Ncuti being a black doctor. That doesn't bother me at all. A black James Bond, I have a lot bigger problem with. Like, how do you have all white family and an all white background as you were, an ancient English aristocratic family, and you're black? How'd that happen? And how do you have the same life experience as somebody who's white if it's intrinsically different and you're marginalized being black? So then it's not the same character, or whatever. It's like I'm screaming into the ether. As I said, hopefully the good Lord will bring the apocalypse before such a terrible thing can befall the Western world. Who knows or dares to dream? My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.